Mpenzi mtazamaji, karibu sana kwa uchambuzi wa Gumzo News TV. Natumai mko vipoa. So, kuna harakati zimeanzishwa na kundi moja likiongozwa na Cyprian Orina, ambapo hiyo kikundi imekuja na vikundi kadhaa ili kumake sure wameweza kumuondoa Rais William Ruto na kithure Kindiki mamlakani, na wameweza kujipa timeline yao ni kumake sure by July Rais William Ruto na kithure Kindiki wameweza kumuondoa kwa mamlakani kupitia kwa referendum, ambapo hiyo referendum wanataka after IBC imeweza kuundwa, watatafuta sahihi ama signature 1,000,000 wawasilishe kwa IBC, then IBC after hapo watawasilisha hiyo mswada kwa mabunge ya county kisha kwa National Assembly. So wanataka kumuondoa Rais William Ruto kwa sababu kwa sasa hivi Rais William Ruto na kithure Kindiki wamekuwa na mapungufu yao, ikiwemo kukeuka katiba ama wameweza kuinajisi hii katiba, na inaonekana hata wameweza kuisuspend. Tumeona vile corruption imekuwa donda sugu Kenya hii, corruption imeweza kutekelezwa zaidi. Tumeweza kuona jinsi wameweza kukeuka haki za kibinadamu. Tumeona vile wameweza kufanyia shule ya Butere Girls hii wiki. Pia vile jinsi tunavyoona hii ushuru, wameweza kukata ushuru sana hasa wafanyi kazi. So haya mambo yote na mambo mengine zaidi tumeweza kuona, haya ndio baadhi ya mambo wameweza kutaka kutafutia signature na kuweza kumuondoa Rais William Ruto kupitia kwa referendum, ambapo mwananchi mwenyewe atakuwa anaamua yes or no. Yes waondoke, no wasalie. So hiyo ndio harakati ambazo zimeweza kuanzishwa na haya makundi yakiongozwa na Cyprian Orina ya kuweza kumuondoa Rais William Ruto mamlakani. Baada ya hapo wakisha muondoa, wataweza kuweka caretaker government, ambapo hiyo caretaker government itaweza kukaa kwa mamlakani mpaka 2027. Ili haya yote ni kuweza kuepuka gharama ya kuweza kufanya election ingine tena. So haya ndio baadhi ya mambo yanaweza kuendelea, na kwa hii video tunataka kuweza kuangazia hayo. Na kabla tujaendelea zaidi, itaweza kuwa ni mara yako ya kwanza kutazama hii video na labda hujaweza kusubscribe, na kuomba take your time subscribe. Pia vile na kuomba uweze watch hii video hadi mwisho. Kikubwa zaidi na kuomba uweze kulike. Unapofanya haya yote ni njia moja ya kuweza kusupport kazi na kusupport hii channel. So please angazia, na wale ambao wameweza kufanya hivyo nataka kushukuru sana. Mungu aweze kuwabariki. So nataka muweze kujisikilia nyinyi wenyewe jinsi Cyprian Orina alivyoeleza akiojiwa na NTV.
Good morning, Mariam, Eric, and Janet. Thank you so much for having me here.
You have something you want us to talk about exercising our power through the Constitution, either directly or through our democratically elected representatives. And for that, you wanted us to give you the mic.
Thank you so much for giving me the mic. We have a very clear proposal. In the proposal is that Article 1, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution of Kenya be activated so that the people of Kenya remove President William Ruto and his deputy Kindiki from office through a referendum this July 2025. And it is important that this proposal be exercised now, because we are becoming a failed state, and the continued stay in power of both the president and his deputy is now an existential threat to the republic. And it is clear to us that the way to solve this existential threat to the good and the safety of the republic is that this referendum is conducted. There are many pain points and threats that have made this necessary. And if we look at the 5 main ones, is that the Constitution of Kenya is basically suspended. We have a court case. There's a petition in court which shows that President William Ruto has actually violated the Constitution more than 36 times over the last 2.5 years that he has been in power. And these violations include the gross human rights violations, including what is happening to Butere girls right now, which is against the oath of office that he swore to uphold. We've seen the abductions, we've seen the extrajudicial killings. Recently, the former deputy president and the former attorney general have been giving serious evidence, including on this show, in terms of what has been going on in government. But the second reason is that services have collapsed completely, and many Kenyans are dying because of this. The third reason is that the economy is on its knees because of the high taxes and the terrible policies. The corruption is the fourth reason, and massive wastage, living large in a country where people can hardly access basic needs of life. And we are seeing the situation around the East African and African continent, where our country's stature and respect has completely been violated because of how the president has mismanaged state security and diplomacy. So for the survival of the country, it is now important that the people of Kenya exercise the power directly, their sovereign power directly. And how do we do that? We have prepared a Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill whose main objective is to give the people the right through the referendum to recall the president and his deputy and replace them with a transitional president and a transitional deputy through that referendum. And how shall we do this? By establishing a sovereign people's convention, which is provided for under the Constitution, for the people to convene the convention after the referendum and constitute a transitional government. And so this is actually the realization that our Constitution provides for us a constitutional route for peaceful change of power and exercise of power within the Constitution. And as you know, this has happened in other countries where they have what we call parliamentary systems of government, but ours is a presidential system of government. In parliamentary systems of government, like in South Africa, you know that they have replaced two presidents using their constitutional formula. In our case, and you know that I was at the core of the making of the Constitution, we anticipated that there are times when the people will not wait until the next election to recall their president. And that is where we provided for the exercise of the direct sovereign of power, not looking at parliament to do the impeachment, but recalling the president through a referendum, which is Kenyans going to the ballot and recalling their president and deputy because they have become an existential threat to the very, very constitution and the state. So this is the proposal that we are making. And this morning, even as we are speaking about the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, we remember Feroz Noroji, who was actually the chair of the Democracy and Human Rights Veterans Council, which drafted the bill, and the bill is available. We will be going out, that's the formula. Immediately IBC is in place. We will do the collection of signatures, and then we will go to the county assemblies, and we will come to the National Assembly by June, and the referendum by July 2025 for the people of Kenya to recall the president and establish a transitional government for the next 2 years until the election of 2027. I yield the mic back to you, Eric. Thank you so much.
We? Mariam, you are quick to do it.
Immediate reaction.
Janet is not very sure.
No. I am processing.
Yeah, you're processing.
I'm a slow burn person. It just marinates.
See if I get it right. You're saying that a referendum be held to remove the sitting president and the deputy president, that ticket that was elected, that was sworn in as a pair to become the executive and deputy chief executive of the country, to remove them and to replace them. I'll talk about the replacement. But also you're using this as constitution as the basis for this. Cyprian, does the constitution allow us to do this?
Now, that is why we are establishing the referendum. At the referendum, we have taken a constitutional amendment bill, and in the constitutional amendment bill, there are 4 important things that everybody needs to know. The first part is to give the people the vote to recall. And we have established the Sovereign People's Convention within it, in the 7th schedule, to be the one which elects the president and the deputy. So the mandate is coming from the people directly to establish the Sovereign People's Convention, because previously it was not clear how you establish the Sovereign People's Convention to elect a transitional government. So we are saying you don't go back to conduct a fresh election. You put in place a transitional president and a transitional deputy who constitute cabinet for the next 2 years. So that's the second thing that the referendum provides. So you will be voting to replace, and you will be voting to remove and then to replace. The third thing is that we have outlined the mandate of the transitional government, that anybody who will be the transitional president and transitional deputy shall not be eligible to vote, to be eligible to vie for elections in 2027, so that we remove the conflict of interest that comes with a president who is mismanaging the country to get money and everything, to get advantage to win another election. The fourth thing is that we have 5 important amendments that are coming with these amendments. Which are the 5 important amendments? Number 1 is to increase the money that is going to the county governments from 15% minimum to minimum 30%. The second thing that is the replacement is to deal with the gender not more than 2/3 issue that has been on the cards for too long. The third thing that is part of the referendum is that we are stopping double taxation, so that in your payee, you pay your 35%, and then the government comes and taxes you for housing tax, and then taxes you for another thing. So this is what we call tax injustice, double, triple taxation, which is unconstitutional. We fixed that by amending Article 209, so that the people of Kenya, if you are working and you have a pay slip, you pay payee once and for all. The government can be able to do whatever it wants from the one tax. Within that amendment, the fourth, I don't know whether it's the fourth or the fifth, is that we are dealing with the issues of the cost of living. We want for the transitional period for the next 2 years that food stuff is not taxed. Education is not taxed, and healthcare is not taxed, because that's the only way we can be able to revive our healthcare system, education system, and cut the costs of living for the people of Kenya.
Some critics might argue that this is an attempt to circumvent the constitutional process. What would you say to them?
The sovereign people cannot circumvent themselves. How can the sovereign people circumvent themselves? They are the ones who have given birth to the Constitution, and because we are the makers of the Constitution, we knew that a time will come when you will have a rogue head of state and a rogue deputy president. So what did we provide? That Parliament can be able to deal with that problem as representatives of the people, but where they are compromised as they are today, the people then must exercise that power directly without referring to those they delegated power to.
Right. I only have one frame of reference for a referendum. It was Chungwa versus Banana. Fairly simple, really easy to grasp. With this one, I can already see that there's going to be a problem here of how do we understand. Give me, the ballot, July 2025, how many items are on this ballot box? And what are the options?
You're asking about the referendum question.
Yes, the referendum
What's the
question.
referendum question?
Yes.
So you see, in 2005, banana and orange, there was a question for the people of Kenya, either to approve the proposed constitution by saying yes, or disapprove it by saying no. And the majority of Kenyans disapproved of the proposed constitution, and so it did not pass. So the constitution is going to say, those who are for this amendment to the constitution, so that we replace the president and establish the sovereign people's constitution, will say yes. Those who are saying that the current president and deputy stay in office will vote no. So it's a very easy yes or no, just like we did in 2010.
So it's not multiple.
No.
It's because not multiple. It's not each amendment, and then I vote yes, no, item by item.
No, it's a very easy thing for civic education, and the churches and the mosques. We are working with religious leaders are helping us with this civic education, so that people understand that their yes vote means that they want to replace the president and establish the Sovereign People's Convention. And those who want the current administration to stay until 2027 will just vote no to the referendum bill.
Explain the Sovereign People's Convention and where it falls constitutionally.
No. We are establishing it through the referendum in the 7th schedule. So we are introducing the Sovereign People's Convention as a method of replacing the president and the deputy. And this is a vote that is coming directly from the people in the referendum to establish that Sovereign People's Convention. And it's going to bring together 26 sectors, representatives from 26 sectors. Next week, we are going to publish the bill, and it will be available for the people of Kenya to see. So we are bringing together, the youth are the first ones, 50 of them, young people representing the youth. We have women, 47 of them. We have majority leaders from all the county assemblies. We have, private sector is represented. The religious sector are represented, 27 of them. We have students through their student unions across the country. We are talking about the labor movement and the labor union. So we are expecting about 560 Kenyans at KICC or at another place, which will be gazetted by the registrar of the Judiciary. She or he will be the one to gazette the venue, and the people of Kenya, the 560 of them representing all the sectors, and all the senators and all the
called what again?
The Sovereign SPC, the Sovereign People's Convention.
Yes. I hear